We're going to give the award and then do planning and development.
Okay. We're doing that, and then we will all be on their hair.
Oh, well, we'll miss you.
You're going to do the presentation here?
Yeah.
Great.
Where'd the chief go? Oh, there he is. Okay. Chief, we're over here.
Okay. I was going to let you talk first, Your Honor.
Welcome all fans of Sean O'Brien. Evanston is enormously proud of you, Sean. You're a terrific example of our wonderful police department. Sean, as you all know, saved a child's life. And Sean, not only are you a hero, but you also are well aware of things that are going on around you, which most of us don't pay enough attention to. So congratulations for that, and congratulations for being an absolute shining example of the best in the Evanston Police Department. Chief, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you, Your Honor. I'd like to read part of the citation tonight that cites Officer O'Brien's bravery and dedication to duty. Sean O'Brien is a 26-year-old veteran police officer with the Evanston Police Department. On Tuesday afternoon, March 5th, he was driving home with his girlfriend, Mally Navarra, and saw a young child running in the street with no adult supervision near the intersection of Minor and River Road in Des Plaines. O'Brien saw a couple of other drivers attempt to get the child's attentions without success. At that point, the child continued to dart out of traffic. Officer O'Brien stopped his vehicle and tried to talk to the child. At that point, the young man bolted towards the river, threw a snowball in the river, and followed the snowball in. And with that, Officer O'Brien immediately jumped into the Des Plaines River and was able to pull the child to safety. In subsequent conversations with the child's mom, Officer O'Brien learned that the young man could not swim. Had he not been there, this young man would not have survived this event. And we're immensely proud of Sean and his girlfriend, who helped calm the young man down once they had him in Sean's car. Lastly, I want to mention that this is Sean's second save of a life, and to have saved two people this early in a police career is amazing. Based in part on that, I'd like to call Officer O'Brien up so Her Honor can present him with the life-saving medal of the Evanston Police Department. Officer O'Brien.
The entire council would like to congratulate you, so please go shake hands.
While Sean's doing that, I'd like to also mention that his mom and dad are here, and also his sister, and those of you in service know how important it is to have the family support in this line of work.
Would you like to say a few words? Or would you like not to say anything? You get to do whatever you want.
No, I really appreciate it. I appreciate all the police officers behind the cameras that you all can't see. But like I've said before, every single person I work with in the police department, all the firefighters that we have here in Evanston, they would have done the same thing. It's something that we're just trained to react, and that's what I did. I'm just happy that everything turned out the way it did. And we're here doing the same work every day that maybe people don't see. on the news cameras, but we're getting those same calls in Evanston every day, and every single one of these police officers is doing the same amount of work that I did off duty. So thank you everybody for coming, and I appreciate it.
And would Sean's family please quit taking pictures and stand up for a minute so we can acknowledge you? Thank you very much, and you're all welcome to stay for the Planning and Development Committee meeting.
Hey.
Congratulations. Thank you, guys. Bye, Jonathan. Have fun in Park Ridge. Yeah, he doesn't cover us anymore. Nobody covers us. Skokie and Evanston don't have anybody covering us. If you're Barrington Hill, boy, you got a whole platoon of people. I don't have articles about it anymore. You do whatever you want.
Yes, I did. Is there anyone who wants to speak at Planning and Development who hasn't signed up yet? So, come on down. Okay, Steve. Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, March 11th, 2013 meeting of Planning and Development. We have a quorum, and the first item on the agenda is approval of the regular meeting minutes of February 25th, 2013.
Second.
Any changes or corrections? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Oops, what? One. Okay, Alderman Holmes.
On page 407, I believe, at the top, Alderman Rainey moved approval of the home loan, and second by Alderman Wayne. Alderman Holmes said she was the director of this program. I said I was the director of Family Focus when this program started, so it left off Family Focus.
Okay. Any other changes or corrections? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Then we're moving on to items for consideration. The first one is P1, Resolution 11R13, authorizing the law firm of Winston & Strawn to represent the city as amicus curiae in the case of Albert, Hannah, and Carol Maraca versus the City of Chicago. The Evanston Preservation Commission and city staff recommend City Council adoption of Resolution 11R13, authorizing the law firm of Winston & Strawn to represent the City of Evanston at no cost. And that's in support of the City of Chicago's landmarks ordinance, and that is for action.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay. Carlos or Dennis, did either one of you want to speak to this tonight?
Oh, Marie has a letter.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that.
Well, I was just going to ask, could we get an explanation for the public as to what the case is?
Sure.
And the meaning, the importance to the city.
Dennis Marino, Manager of Planning and Zoning. The case involves the City of Chicago and a plaintiff who basically argued that the standards used in the Chicago Preservation Ordinance were vague and capricious and arbitrary. And so the lower court ruled in Chicago's favor and not in favor of the plaintiff. So the case is now on appeal by the plaintiff, and the City of Chicago, its attorneys, and other folks in preservation have reached out to a number of communities to get them to file Friends of the Court brief in support of Chicago's position. Our ordinance in some ways is different than Chicago's, but in some ways is similar. We have a similar set of standards that we think are quite clear. So a ruling that was in favor of the plaintiff in any way, shape, or form could impair preservation ordinances throughout the state.
Okay, Alderman Rainey, then Alderman
But
Wilson.
what were the conditions that generated the original lawsuit that resulted in the decision that is now being appealed? I mean,
I don't.
why did they think the law was capricious?
I don't know the full history of the evolution of the case and the plaintiff's argument, but it was basically seeing that certain elements, certain standards were not clear from their point of view, were not definitive. So I think that was more the issue. But we can certainly give you more information and detail from the attorneys who are handling the case.
Did it have to do with the facade renovation or something like that that prevented the people who brought the case from performing whatever work, or you don't?
Right. There was a case where obviously the applicant wanted to do certain things that they were not allowed to do, and the standards were used to deny them in terms of proceeding.
Thank you.
Okay, Alderman Wilson.
Yeah, I wanted to ensure, and I think this is implied from the draft provision. Just want to make sure that the city manager and the city attorney reviews the brief before it's filed on our behalf. So in other words, this law firm they're preparing it for a number of other municipalities. I want to make sure our council reviews it to ensure that it does not take any positions that ultimately end up being contrary to our interests.
That'll be done.
Okay.
And the Corporation Council is shaking his head yes, too.
Right.
Nodding approval.
And Alderman Rainey, the brief that got filed is, it's available. It's really long, and it's not very interesting reading. So if you want to
Just wanted to
torture yourself.
crazy about it.
Yeah. Okay, is there any more discussion on this? It's for action. Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Alrighty, we're going to move on to P2, which is Ordinance 26013, granting a special use for commercial indoor recreation facility at 739 Main Street. The Zoning Board of Appeals recommends adoption of Ordinance 26013, granting a special use permit with conditions to mitigate the possible noise impact for a commercial indoor recreation facility at 739 Main Street, a vacant storefront for a boxing studio, and that's for introduction. And okay, move approval, and there's a second. We have two people who are signed up to speak, so Dennis, if you would give us background, and then we'll take citizen
Thank you,
comment.
Alderman Fisk. As you mentioned, this was recommended for approval by the Zoning Board of Appeals on a unanimous vote. There were conditions that they imposed. One of the most important conditions is that there would be no sound amplification. The major concern with this proposal was potential noise. And given the way the ordinance that's proposed is written with that condition, staff recommends approval of introduction. Also tonight, Fernando Rivera, the applicant, is here as well, should you have questions.
And where is he? Hi, good. Okay, we'll see if there are any questions. Thank you for coming, though. We have two citizens signed up to speak. The first one is Peggy Tarr, and following Peggy is Martha Moser.
Good evening. First of all, I want to say that I'm not opposed to a boxing studio. I'm uncomfortable about it being in the location that's proposed only because, as Alderman Wilson knows, we've had constant problems with noise from another business in our neighborhood, Revolution Spin, and the city has not been able to do anything about it. I will speak at greater length before the council, but as I wanted to point out, you know, I admire Mr. Rivera for working with high school students, but I am concerned about the noise because the city has been very negligent as far as attending to the problems and complaints we have about the noise at Revolution Spin.
Thank you. And Martha?
Good evening. I'm Martha Moser. I live at 929 Washington Street in Evanston, and I formerly had a business at 906 Sherman Avenue. I want to comment on the proposal for Boxing Club moving onto Main Street at the intersection of Main and Sherman. I asked the council not to approve the measure, and despite what the promoters say, noise comes with an exercise venue, as I have learned. It's not the exercise itself that makes the noise, it's the raw background that's necessary to set the mood for the exercise. Before Revolution Spin moved next door to my business, if anyone had asked if I were concerned, I would have said, what nuisance could come from people pedaling a stationary bicycle? Well, I found out what nuisance. With spinning, it's not just the silent pedaling. You have to have loud background music. You have to have an instructor yelling over a microphone, which is yet again amplified. It's only spinning when you have the total loud nuisance package. And I believe the same will be true with boxing. Can you really think that a boxing studio doesn't come with its own brand of noise? There's going to be yelling, loud oomphs, rat-tat of punching bags, thump of jump ropes on a hardwood floor. And if there's a boxing match, there's going to be fans cheering, and there's going to be loud chattering from exuberant youngsters because that's their nature when they're using their exercise to let off steam. The boxing studio is closer to the apartments at 915 Sherman than Revolution Spin, and you know that complaints are still being registered because of Revolution Spin. I don't think the people in the neighborhood deserve another noise nuisance. I testified before, a noisy business should locate elsewhere, like at Dempster and Dodge, where buildings are not close to residences and where the noise can be isolated. There's also a well-lighted parking lot with ample parking. If the exercise studios would get off the street, then they could be free to make the noise that they need to carry on their business. But when they're next to living quarters and the noise travels and bothers the people living around them, they should either be made to move or be made to install expensive soundproofing. I think the City Economic Development Department should work with businesses before they find a location to help them find a place that's more appropriate. This mixed-use zoning stuff doesn't seem to be working in that neighborhood. Main Street merchants are not going to benefit from boxers, and a boxing studio is only going to generate more irritation in that little community. You listen to other residents when they have reservations about businesses moving in. You listen to Trader Joe concerns. So ask yourself, why can't the neighborhood at Main and Sherman get the same respect? So I just ask you to not deny the permit and help them move to a more suitable location.
Thank you, Martha. Okay, we'll open it up. Alderman Wilson.
Thank you. And there have been a lot of complaints about another business in the neighborhood. I had some reservations about another fitness operation, and again, it's really the primary aspect is the noise. One of the conditions that the ZBA has imposed, and I agree with, is the condition that they not utilize any amplified music or vocal instructions. I think that'll make a significant difference. So with that qualification, that took away a lot of my reservations. I know that some of the business owners were concerned, and I'd asked that the applicant meet with some of the Main Street merchants representatives, which he did do, and I did hear back from them. While they have reservations and concerns, they expressed, at least one individual expressed to me that he was not opposing it. And he had mentioned that he respected the work that was being done with youth in the community, and we'll hope and expect that this will be another positive opportunity for people to do constructive things with their time on the Main Street corridor.
Alderman Holmes, then Rainey.
Wilson, I think, and I was trying to find it, there's also a requirement for it to be soundproof, or it has already been soundproof. Is that correct? I think I saw that somewhere.
Let's see.
It said it was already soundproof.
Or it was already soundproof? Maybe the applicant tell us.
Could you step up and just tell us a little bit about the sound proofing?
Hi, my name is Fernando Rivera, and first of all, I would like to make a remark. I'm not opening a boxing gym. There's not going to be any type of contact or fights or whatsoever. This is fitness for everyone. People that are opposed to my business, I understand their concerns because of the noise, but they should ask what it's going to be, and it's not going to be a boxing gym. Mostly we're going to work with families, kids, and it's no boxers involved in this gym. Everybody that's going to assist to this place or this studio, it's going to be community, people from the community, the area. About the soundproof, talk to the landlord, and I think the only wall that's been soundproof is the one that links with the bank. But the punching bags are going to be on the other side, on the east side wall that's facing the parking lot. So I don't think it's going to affect anyone. So, I mean, all the sound is going to go into the parking lot.
What about the ceiling, though, for the people above?
The ceiling is not going to be affected. The reason why, because we planning on hanging the bags from the wall, not from the ceiling. Because I'm aware, if you hang a punching bag from the ceiling, when you hit the bag, the vibration goes into the floor in the upper apartment. So they're going to be hanging from the wall down. So it's not going to be, and I mean, like I say, we're not people that assist to these places, a place like mine, they're not professionals. It's just people like regular people like us, like you guys. They come, do the workout, punch the bag, but you don't have the impact. I mean, it's just for fitness more than anything else. It's not for competition. So I don't see any problem. About the music, we use music like any other business, just the background. I don't yell, I give instructions because the place is fairly small. If I scream at somebody, probably they're going to turn around punching me. So it's just giving instructions. It's not military academy or anything that have to be very loud. And as soon as the person learns the routine, it's not a reason to scream because I have a board that I'm going to put there when you write down all the workout. It says, this is what we do today, go to it. Okay, so let it.
Alderman Rainey, did you have?
I have grave concerns. I believe we're going to hear back that this is going to be a problem. However, I have respect for Alderman Wilson. It's his ward. It's a use in his ward. He's supporting it. I'm going to support it. But I can't tell you the discomfort it gives us when we give a special use to somebody and then the neighbors come back after we've approved it and said, you've made a big mistake, and we told you so. So I'm hoping that won't happen here. And I'm hoping that everyone has Alderman Wilson's phone number. But I think he's probably done his due diligence, and I respect that. So I'm going to support this.
Yeah, I emphasize with you as well. and I'm a member of the community. So I've been working already around the community, doing the same thing for 15 years.
But
And
I'm
I
not-
never had any complaints, and what I'm trying to do is work with the community and help the
I
community.
have great respect for that, and I think you're doing a wonderful job, and I would love to have your use in my ward someplace, but it's not there, it's there, and there are people complaining, so I'm just.
I totally agree with the people as well.
Alderman Wilson.
Okay. Crystal clear, right? Quiet as it can be, and I said as it can be, and you and I have talked a number of times. You've talked to the other business owners, so I think we have an understanding that the noise shouldn't be an issue, and if it is an issue, you'll take care of it. Fair enough. Thanks. Okay, great.
Serious boxing requires concentration. I love to box.
No, not necessarily. This is open
To
for
me, it does.
everybody,
Yeah.
especially.
But it does. I mean, when people are doing it, they're concentrating on what they're doing. They're not bopping around and hitting other people and yelling and screaming.
More than a
Most part, it's
concentration, I think it's a
exercise.
stress release.
Right.
You go there, you jump the rope, you do
Right.
the body exercises, floor exercises, hit the bag, you walk out of there, your mind is completely open.
Right. Exactly.
I tell people at all times, this is cheaper than going to see the shrink.
Right.
You do a boxing session, you go home, and you feel open-minded, relaxed, and all the stress is gone. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to compete with anybody or create competitions.
Right. Right.
Just to help people and help myself as
Right.
well.
Well, we just need it to be quiet. I think
Yes.
that's what everyone's saying.
And
Okay.
feel free to stop by anytime you want.
We will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, this is for introduction tonight. Any other comments by committee?
I'm going to take it off consent so we can have it heard a week from today for action. Ordinarily, it wouldn't be a week from today, but because of the schedule, weeks after that. I'm just mentioning that so everybody knows when I do that. That's why I'm taking it off
Okay.
consent. Okay.
Okay. All right. So we're still moving it for introduction to council.
Exactly.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The next is item P3, which is ordinance 4013, amending portions of the zoning ordinance relating to certain legal nonconforming residential uses. The Plan Commission and City staff recommend adoption of proposed ordinance 4013, amending the zoning ordinance to permit a process similar to the minor variance process to be implemented for 1 to 4 family residential legal nonconforming uses that allows the zoning administrator to determine if such nonconforming uses can be expanded by increasing the structure's bulk. That's for introduction tonight. We have 2 people signed up to speak, and we're going to hear from staff. Mr. Moreno.
Thank you, Alderman Fisk. The ordinance that's in front of you for introduction tonight grew out of recognition by staff that we had a challenge with a number of legal nonconforming uses, particularly 2 flats, that were not allowed to even do minor expansion because you, under our current ordinance, cannot expand a legal nonconforming use. There's no mechanism for doing that. So what we're trying to do is create a mechanism with very clear standards and a process, including notice, that would enable owners of 1 to 4 unit properties, residential properties, to be able to apply, to be able to potentially expand. And again, our expectation here is very modest expansions. There are 3 cases cited in the memorandum that we've been dealing with recently. 1622 Darrow, which is around the corner from Church Street going south. It's actually the first of several residential properties on that block. So it's kind of the last house before the business district as you turn the corner on Church. The other property that we've been working on lately is 2018 Lake Street, which is currently a 3-unit residential structure in the R1. This is just south of the high school on Lake Street, across the street as you drive out of the high school, the back of the high school southbound. And there you'll see 3 2-flats, 1920 era 2-flats. Properties like that, and most of the properties we're talking about, the reason they're legal, non-conforming, is that they once were totally legal and could be built new under different zoning than what exists today. But the zoning changed in a number of these districts to make them still legal, grandfathered in, if you will, but non-conforming. Third property is 309 Davis, which is Davis Street, which is actually a attached single family. So it's not a detached single family, it's attached. It's two townhouses that share a common wall, if you will. And there in the memo you have a description that the owner in that case would like to be able to do a garage, but can't do that. Now, a number of these cases, should the first phase of the process, if you all were to approve this mechanism, once you get through the first phase of the process, that's where we notice and basically staff makes a decision that's appealable as to whether or not the particular application should be considered going forward. Many of these will also require either minor or major variations, but not all of them. So there's a phase 2 to this process in a number of these cases as well. About 2,800 housing units are in 2 flats in the city, less so for 3 and 4 unit buildings. And clearly throughout most neighborhoods, if not all neighborhoods in the city, you see this circumstance where you have 2 flats in R1 neighborhoods, or you have, like you do there on Darrow and Church, a single-family home that's around the corner from the business district, but its parcel is in the business district. There are other examples that I'm not citing, but just to give you some sense of how this emerged among staff.
Okay, I was remiss in not getting a motion and a second. So would someone like to make a motion?
Move introduction.
And is there a second? Second. Okey doke. We have 2 people who are signed up to speak. Michael Law. Is it Law, Michael? Lowe, good. 1143 Forest, and then Betty Esther, 2031 Church.
I would like to speak in support of the motion. Mainly, I've lived here since 1981. I've done leadership at Evanston and did housing, worked with housing for low and middle income on some of the committees. And these 2 flats are very important now for people that want to, for non-commercial, they buy these and they rent half of it and they're able to live in Evanston. And these are not, these are normal working people. They might be teachers, they might be police or whatever. So it's very nice for them to be able to, have rights like people farther east in the big houses have, to be able to add something. But I also speak in my behalf. I own 2018 Lake Street. And I would like to, the back bedroom is only about 5 feet across. And it's just too short. And the wall's rotten. And I tend to really fix up properties and make them nice. I rent them from like 11 to 1,300, very reasonable. And my choice, if I am not able to do that, is to take really lower-end tenants. And this is not a Section 8 thing, but Section 8 does give you, they'll approve any 3rd bedroom. And I have to let 8 people in there, and it's not fun for me. I'll take the same rents, fix up the house, and take either Section 8, just one person, or a working-class person. So for me, this is an important way to give landlords and owners of these 2 flats more choice and get better people living in Evanston. And this is not an income thing. This is just you have to have a good building to get good tenants. And in the case of a lot of these cases, like mine, it's a minor variance, a small variance, and I would like the right to be able to do that.
Okay.
So that's my.
Thank you very much. Betty Esther.
I have with this here, I'm not quite clear because you're saying to be able to change the nonconformance of the 1 to 4 unit residential unit. Is he spanning out the back wall? Is he knocking out the inside wall to make his kitchen small? I don't understand really what this ordinance is going to do. It would be nice before the zoning changes are made that they are really publicized and the community is well informed. There was one back in October, And that was one where you went in and you talked about bringing back down the height so that in the different residential unit, the heights would stay conform with what used to be. That got changed because in 2007, there was a zoning text change with an overlay district with a form-based code zoning change that allowed things to go up. We argued against it. I argued against it. Now, I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a construction person. But it would help even the people in the community to have a better understanding of the zoning thing. And like the young lady stated, you do these things where you have meetings with sections of the community that you explain things, really explain things. Because what he's talking about, building and changing, the houses are close together, or he's going to expand and cut off the view to people stand in their yard and talks to neighbors, cross the fence. I know that neighborhood. If you expand it that way, you do cut off the sight line. So are we having, the neighbors love him, but I don't think they really know since that this is going to happen. You prove this, then they come when they get a notice. Why not discuss and shape this so that discussion won't happen? Make the law and make it right before people have to come out upset because they didn't know and when was this change and everything. That's all I'm asking. Talk to us, explain things to us, because like he said, the two flats in my area, the 2nd and the 5th ward, there's a lot of 2 flats and things, and they are close together. And people we do like our sight line to talk to people. So I hope you do not approve this. Talk to the people, explain to them, show them, tell them exactly what is going to be happening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Esther. Okay, Alderman Wilson, did you have your light on?
I did.
Okay, go ahead.
I also have some significant reservations about notice and legal nonconforming uses. To me, should have a higher standard than the zoning administrator. So I can see that there might be exceptions out there. So to have a blanket preclusion from anybody ever being able to do something along these lines, it probably doesn't make sense. But I'm not comfortable supporting just a zoning administrator decision. I think if it was something along the lines of a major variation or major variance, that process would make a lot more sense to me. And to Ms. Esther's point, provide more extensive notice and a much greater opportunity for the community to be informed about the change and also for people to participate in the process.
Alderman Rainey?
Actually, the zoning administrator taking on this authority is my only objection to this ordinance. And I would ask that we send it back and have staff bring it back as a major variance. I don't care how. I think people like Mr. Lowe ought to have the opportunity to apply for the change, but I don't think it should be up to the zoning administrator.
Mm-hmm. I have one question, Dennis, about zoning philosophy, not about this specifically. But my understanding was that when we move toward the non-conforming use, that really what the purpose of that is in a zoning code is to discontinue that use or to make it conforming, that the zoning ordinance evolves over years. And I don't know, again, I'm having a little bit of difficulty with this as well. In the case of 309 Davis, that's in my ward. It's a duplex. It's from, dates from the 1890s. They want to put up a garage. They're going to have to go in front of preservation anyway. But I think I agree with everyone that it should be a variance and a major variance and probably come to us. Not that we don't love you. We do, and we think you'd make a good decision. But for future, I think that probably makes more sense, and it's something I'm more comfortable with also. So is everyone agreed that this should go back?
Certainly agree.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
So if I could, we can work with law to rewrite this and bring it back as soon as your April 1st meeting, and in the form of a major variation, and that then the main change would be that they would all go to the Zoning Board of Appeals for final deposition.
Right. Okay, we're moving ahead to item P4, which is ordinance 33013. It's for introduction, amendment to special use for the tennis scoreboards at 2250 Sheridan Road. City staff recommends the adoption of ordinance 33013, amending the special use ordinance 120012, adopted November 12, 2012, for tennis scoreboards at 2250 Sheridan Road to permit an increase in size to the end signs located on the large scoreboard. The new proposal should not increase the view of the scoreboard from Sheridan Road. It's for introduction. Is there a motion?
Move approval.
Is there a second? Second. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay. Are there any items for discussion?
Just one, Madam Chairman. What's not typical, your vacation rental, short-term rental proposal, if you recall from your work session that Saturday, was that you had asked that we prepare that and send it out for public comment and discussion concurrently with sending it to you. So you'll be getting that with them to foster the comments and suggestions and bring it back to your April 1st meeting.
Okay. Any communications?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Alderman Rainey.
Yes. Alderman Fisk, you might just want to mention that if anybody's here for the restaurant issues or the Howard Street overlays, they're all being held over until March 18th?
18th.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Is there anyone here tonight for Howard Street?
In case people are listening and
Okay.
want to know.
They're all going to be held over for the next meeting, as Alderman Rainey said. Thank you very much. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move adjourn.
Okay, thank you very much. City Council will begin in 7 minutes. That's at 8:15. It's only supposed to be 5 minutes. You get two extra minutes. 8:15.